Hey guys, so this is my new video. Something I have not done before, but I kind of want to get into it more because this is actually a special Halloween treat for you guys. And basically, it is a story that I heard in New Orleans while I was taking a tour there. By the way, a little off topic at first, but if you guys go to New Orleans, you should definitely take the hottest hell tours is what it's called. And they have what's called Hellivision. And basically, it's like these little projector things that they shine on the side of buildings and they tell you stories. And the projectors have like pictures of what the buildings used to look back like back then and just how the people look that live there. And they'll tell you like really in depth stories. They tell stories about the Axeman, the story that I'm about to tell, not the Axeman, but and then they also tell you about this lady that was featured on American Horror Story. Kathy Bates played her in Coven, actually, the crazy lady that did some absolutely horrible things. But anyway, not gonna ruin the tour for you. But that's just some of the things that they cover in the tour, and they cover a couple more things. But it's actually pretty cool. And they go back. Apparently, there were pirates in New Orleans too. Didn't know that. That's pretty. They have like some pretty cool history there. Pretty creepy places too that you walk by, but it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, so let's get into it. So the story today is actually about the Count of Saint Germain, or as some people call him, because he's more recently known as the Count of New Orleans. Um, and I've been told that there is a show, Outlander, that's supposed to be about him. I haven't seen it. I've been told that actually Interview with a Vampire, the movie, was supposed to be based loosely around him. Hadn't seen it. Sorry, sorry. Don't get mad at me. Hadn't seen either one of those, but yeah. So let's get into it. So it starts. Actually, technically, it starts back in the times of Jesus. Um, Maybe even before Jesus. There were rumors that people had sighted him at the wedding that where Jesus turned the water into wine. There were rumors that he was around before then. Again, these are just rumors. Not, I'm sure they weren't like confirmed sightings or anything like that. Probably just people talking. Uh, they were probably just feeding off of his stories that he was telling, and probably just through word of mouth got around. These are not facts. But there was uh, the Count of Saint Germain, and he was apparently close with King Louis, and actually, he had been arrested as a spy of Prince Charles, I believe. Prince Charles or Prince Charlie, I think it was Prince Charles, but one of them. He had been arrested for being his spy. He'd been arrested by King Louis. And then with him being arrested, they became friends. And King Louis actually liked him a lot, I guess, because of the mystery surrounding him. But they got close, and actually, the Count of Saint Germain had met one of King Louis's mistresses. And this is a funny story because apparently, when he died, uh, when he supposedly died the first time, or at least the first time we know about, uh, years later, he was cited by the mistress of King Louis. And she was saying, you look just like the Count of Saint Germain. And he was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, there's no way you'd be like 100 years old now, because she was old herself. And he's like, I'm very old. And that's all he said, and he left. But yeah, apparently that happened. So let me pull out some dates because can't remember all this. Sorry. But basically, yeah, he is rumored to go back as far as before Jesus. And I've in an interview, I'm gonna post some links down below to interviews of his most recent supposed sighting, which was him being Richard Canfry back in 1970 something. Uh, but basically, they did an interview with him, and then he supposedly committed suicide after the interview. Uh, but in the interview, he is kind of alluding to the fact that he has a philosopher's stone, which is kind of cool because in the video he like turns metal into gold on TV, which is, you know, it's pretty cool, especially back then when they didn't have all the special effects. And but yeah, so okay, sorry, I'm back. Reading up on the dates here. But basically, what this is saying is that he was arrested um, due to alleged supposed espionage. Um, and then he had met a lady at a party that was hosted by uh, Countess von Gregory. Um, and the lady that he met was elderly uh, at the time, of course, because time had affected her, but apparently not him, according to her. She said she was intrigued because she had met a man by the name of Count of Saint Germain back in Venice in 1710, but now it was 1760, and he did not look a day over 45. When she questioned him about it, he said, Madame, I am very old. News of this spread, of course, because she was going to go tell. She had met someone that when she met him, he was 40, but he still looks 40, all these years afterwards. So she went and she told everyone, and news of this started circulating. People were intrigued, people had questions, and there were very famous people throughout history that had questions, about where is this guy from? Like, and he would never give a direct answer. The only person that he ever really gave a direct answer to was a prince, and he told him that he was a descendant of a prince in Transylvania. That's his only supposed lineage. Of course, I don't think that was ever confirmed. That's just what he is claiming. Um, and apparently, so when the rumors started circulating, this is where it came back to uh, all of the rumors about him being so old. It said he had claimed to have been with Jesus when he turned the water into wine, and he had met with Emperor Nero, King Henry, um, and he also kind of told these stories as if he were there. He was telling the stories like he was there. He remarked on the beauty of Queen Mary of Scots. Um, so he was telling these stories like he was actually there, and people believed him, and kind of helped those rumors spread because it kind of validated it by that lady seeing him and him saying that he's very old. So, is he a vampire? Is he not? You guys decide. But apparently, not everyone was convinced. The famous Casanova actually hated him. They did not get along, I guess. Maybe it was because he felt that that maybe the Count of Saint Germain was kind of stealing his thunder with the ladies, but yeah, so he was not a fan. He said he was a fake. Uh, Most everyone else, though, from what I could tell, had a really positive opinion of him because he knew like all of these languages. My tour guide actually said in New Orleans that he knew ancient Sanskrit, which is crazy, and that every time it had he had come up in history, each incarnation of him all knew the same languages. They all had the same personality. They looked oddly similar, which is what caused that lady to recognize him. They were all about the same age. They all had a love of music. They were all well loved by the ladies. It was just really weird that he always looked the same, always knew the same languages, same music, like same instruments, and he was always had the same personality. That's just it's really odd to think about. But there's another story here that he had went to Russia in 1762 to meet Empress Catherine the Great, and that he had visited France briefly in 1774 and warned King Louis and Queen Marie Antoinette of the apparent storm that was coming, is the quote. But basically, what he is rumored to have told them was there will be a bloodthirsty republic sorry, whose scepter will be the executioner's knife, was apparently the quote. And by some accounts, people say that Marie Antoinette had said just before she died, if only we had listened to him, which again is not backed completely by historical fact. However, it's a rumor. Take that as you will. Uh, but it is kind of interesting that he's meeting all of these people and he has these ties uh, throughout history. It's like he's seeking these people out, almost like he knows something. Like he's there throughout all of the famous events in history, it's really odd. I really like this lighting. It's really pretty, but I'm gonna have to pause the video real quick so that I can go take care of that. Okay, so getting back to it, uh, basically, it's really weird that all of this is happening. All of these rumors about him are so solidified throughout history. Again, rumors, but it's weird that all of these people are saying the same thing about him. Like you used to play the game when you were a kid, you used to tell people something, then it would just get blown way out of proportion. It's weird that even though things keep getting added, like where he said he's been during history and historical times. Um, One thing remains the same: always his personality, the language that he knows, the languages that he knows. The It's crazy, the musical instruments just hit everything about his personality, and his resemblance and his age range stays the same. All of the descriptions of him, that's just a little too odd for me. I get that it's not recorded, but it is a little odd. This, however, is technically recorded. This next piece. Apparently, the Count of Saint Germain, um, the third most recent one of him, technically supposedly died on the 27th of February in 1784, and he would not reemerge officially until he made his appearance in New Orleans. However, there were many, many sightings of him after his reported death in 1784, which is weird when you note the fact that the church had recorded his death. However, no grave, no official gravesite for him at the church where he was supposedly buried was ever found. And some of the rumors around that speculate because he was friends with the prince, um, he had the church fake those death records, which is it's weird. It's all really weird and really, like, I could go into multiple different conspiracy theories about this, all the way to like Nikola Tesla, um, because there, if you watch the video of canfry back in 1973. I had brought up the Philosopher's Stone, but I could go into some weird theories with that because it could date, back to Nicholas Flamel and like all the inconsistencies and the people that are involved in this. It it's weird because a lot of people are theorizing, or at least I am, me being a conspiracy theorist, that there are multiple people like this that have this power, whether it's a vampire, whether it's just that they all have a piece of the Philosopher's Stone, or that maybe even one of them is one of the people that was cursed by God to live forever. Who knows? But I theorize that there's a whole secret society of them, whoever they are. I'm not going to say that I flat out think Nikola Tesla's involved or that I think that Nicholas Flamel or any of them are involved or anything like that, but it's a weird conspiracy theory just to think about. I'm not saying I actually believe any of this. It's just interesting to look into. Um, but anyway, getting back to this. So, after he died in 1784, he was apparently had reemerged in 1885 um, by being spotted at a Masonic gathering, which is weird. So, after his supposed death in 1784, he shows back up in 1885, only to be at a Masonic gathering. More conspiracy theories. No, I'm not going to get into the Freemasons. Yeah, no, not even going to go there. That's a whole other no. I'm not making a video about that. I'm just going to leave that alone. Let you guys make your own conspiracy theories about that. So, actually, there was one other character that showed up that was apparently, supposedly, like the Count of Saint Germain. Uh, in between when he had died in 1784, I believe, yeah, 1784, and when he reappeared in New Orleans, there was one other person as well. His name was Major Frazier, um, and apparently people remarked on how he resembled the Count of Saint Germain. There was one famous portrait that was done of him, and I'll link that in the description. I'll probably put it as the thumbnail of this video too. But they had kind of compared the two, Major Frazier and this other guy, and they were like, yeah, he really, really looks like him. Um, and he claims to have known Dante and a whole bunch of other people, just like the same person, same personality, same story, same love of music, knew all the same languages, yada yada yada. But apparently, this Major Frazier guy, he was apparently behind some of the inventions or some of the early inventions of the steam engines, which is kind of cool. Um, but he popped up later. That guy, of course, disappeared or whatever. But and there were multiple other sightings. But he appeared again in New Orleans during the early 20th century, and he went by Jacques Saint Germain, and I'll just call him Jack for the purpose of this video. So Jack had the same story, same looks, same, languages, musical, love of music, and he was the same life of the party, ladies' man. And he used to throw these extravagant parties in New Orleans, actually. And every time he would just lavish his guests in like exquisite food. Um, he was the life of the party, food, all the food you could think of back then, just like lavish, fit for a king party. Um, but he would never, one weird thing that all of his guests always noticed about all of his parties is he would never eat a drop of food, which they found kind of odd. but he would always be drinking wine, like really delicious looking wine, and his guests would always pester him about wanting to try some, and he would be like, no, no, this is a special selection, and yeah, I couldn't let you do that. uh, but it seemed kind of odd that he was always sipping on this wine that no one else was allowed to have. uh, and he never ate any food. But what happened was, in New Orleans, and by the way, he stayed on Royale Street, I think, in New Orleans. And if you go on the tours, you'll be able to see that. It's a really cool place. I'm gonna link all of the articles and everything that I'm getting as resources. I'm gonna link them in the description below. I'm gonna link that interview of Richard Canfry as well in the description below, so you guys can watch that, like where he actually claims to be the Count of Saint Germain, and goes on French television and all of that. But basically, uh, Jack, uh, in New Orleans, he had befriended everyone in the town. I'm talking police officers, you know, everybody in town just knew him, loved him, believed that there was like some kind of mysteriousness about him. He never confirmed nor denied these rumors that were circulating in New Orleans, apparently. Apparently, he just let people talk about what they speculated about him. But one day, after a supposed party, he had brought a lady up to his room who may or may not have been a prostitute, but uh, he was talking her up and they were having a great time. And then she said she was looking at something in his room, looking around in his room, and all of a sudden he leapt on her and started trying to bite her neck. And I think he actually did bite her neck, but um, she was startled. She screamed. She jumped off of his balcony. And if you guys have ever been in New Orleans, they have these like French balconies that like go around with the little thin black railing around them. But basically, they're not too high off the ground. You could survive a fall. She was on the second floor when this happened. But yeah, she jumped off the balcony, made it to the street below, and went and told the police immediately, hey, this guy bit me and on the neck, which is just a random thing. I mean, I'm sure the police at the time probably were like, you saw the blood on her, and they were like, that's a little weird, like, but we'll go check it out. Because they didn't want to immediately accuse their friend because they were all friends with him. Um, but they went to his house, and he supposedly came stumbling down the stairs, maybe possibly pretending to be drunk. But he opened the door for the police, and they were like, oh, yeah, we need to bring you in for some questioning because we have someone that made a report against you. And he was like, oh, yeah, well, sure, that's fine. I'll be down in the morning to answer any questions because I'm not feeling good right now. I've had too much to drink. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So they did not take him in immediately, which is weird, but I guess because they thought that was their friend and they didn't think he was going to do anything or that he had done anything. And they thought, okay, yeah, sure, he'll be there in the morning. If not, we know where to find him. But come morning, they waited and waited and waited, and no one showed because when they went to his house and went in, he was gone. All of his expensive things, really, really expensive things, most of them were still left there. He had just ditched. And some things that were left there, though, they noticed that a bottle of that famous rare wine that they were never allowed to drink was sitting out. And when they inspected it further, they found out that it actually only had a little bit of alcohol. It was mostly blood. So of course, rumors went crazy that this guy just like left. He's drinking blood. He's a vampire. And so rumors circulated like crazy around this. That like all of they're basically saying, "Oh yeah, it's confirmed. He really was there when Jesus was around because he's a vampire and he's, this, that, and the other." But he must have laid low for a bit, but sightings were occasionally reported of him throughout the world. And then again in 19, I believe, 73 was when Richard Canfry came onto the scene. He was dating actually a very famous singer at the time in the 1970s, and he had claimed to be also the Count of Saint Germain, which we're going to get into in 1 second. Okay, so this is him, Richard Canfry. And notice the nose, which is what I believe is like one of the more defining traits of the Count. But apparently, Richard Canfry was in love with this French singer that had sold over 170 million albums. So she was getting pretty big. But he was in love with her from 1972 to 1981. And something must have happened between 1981 to 1983, and maybe they had fallen out, um, or something like that, and had broken up. But he committed suicide supposedly in 1983, which is weird because the key word there is supposedly. How do you supposedly commit suicide? Um, and there were no, I haven't, at least I haven't been able to find anything that confirmed whether or not they had found his body, but supposedly he had committed suicide by inhaling the exhaust gas of his car, which, how do you supposedly commit suicide like that? And I haven't seen anything as far as whether they found a body or not. And I mean, even if they did, and this guy is who he says he is, I'm sure he has his ways of faking that. But he had went before he had committed suicide in 1983. He had went on French television and said to the world that he is the Count of Saint Germain and that he has been around forever, basically, and that there are seven others like him. And on national television, he turns lead into gold. And he pulls out something out of his pocket that helps him do that, which is why I'm thinking, possibly the Philosopher's Stone. Um, but anyway, after he had done this display and then he supposedly committed suicide, apparently the singer, she had committed suicide as well in 1987, saying that life was unbearable for her and to forgive her. Um, and I mean, I'm not sure if her body was ever, I'm sure with her being more notable, her body was probably found, but I didn't really look into that. But who knows? Maybe he turned her into a vampire and they ran away, and who knows? But he has been spotted ever since, and it is said to this day that he is spotted around New Orleans occasionally. Which is a weird note because when I was looking at the pictures of Richard Canfrey, I had felt like I had recognized him from somewhere. Not saying I've seen him around New Orleans or anything, but maybe he just has one of those familiar faces. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, I go to New Orleans a lot because it's only like an hour away from where I am. So maybe I've seen him. Maybe that's where I've seen him. Actually, I'm going to go to New Orleans in a couple weeks again. So maybe if the tours are open, I might take one and show you guys around. Uh, and maybe go to his old house. And I don't know, we'll see. By the way, this is not a tattoo. This is just random stuff that I drew on my hand, like it's tiny little stars, which is kind of cute. And look at my little ring. Yeah, it's cute. Anyway, so that will conclude the story for today. Keep an eye out and let me know if you guys see him. Uh, I am going to post probably in the thumbnail of this video the picture of the Count of Saint Germain, but I'm gonna pull up a picture of him right now too, just to put on the screen for you guys in case you guys missed the thumbnail. Uh, that is him. Look at the nose. Look at the nose. It's weird. Really weird. Um, but yeah, so that will conclude. Sorry, guys, for the sun. That will conclude the video today. Hope you guys liked this little weird Halloween special thing I did. Let me know if you like it down in the comments. Like the video. Maybe, I don't know, I don't care. No, I do care. Please like the video. I'm just kidding. But seriously, more importantly, keep an eye out for him because who knows? Maybe the rumors are real. Not saying if I believe them or not, but I definitely think this research has been very, very interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I'm going to link all of the resources down below so that you guys can check it out. Uh, um, I didn't do the whole makeup thing while I was doing this, even though I've been watching Bailey Sarian like crazy. I really like her, and I really like Mr. Ballin as well. If you guys don't know who Mr. Ballin is, check him out. He does a way better job at telling stories than I do. Maybe he'll see this and do a better story of the Count of Saint Germain. But yeah, he's awesome. He'll say things like trip the like button if you like this video, or send the like button an invitation to your birthday party, but put the wrong address on there. So, but I'm not that creative and I'm not going to steal his swag because he's way cooler than I am. But yeah, go check out his videos, check out the links in the description below, and hope you guys have a happy Halloween. I feel like this one is definitely going to be spookier than the others. Don't know why, just have that vibe. Uh, but yeah, you guys have a great Halloween. Bye.